Hello, everybody, and welcome to the December 5th Trips and Traps. Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
Just conducted our big weekend of racing here at the Big A for the fall meet, and we'll take a look at 4 races from Cigar Mile Day, including the Cigar Mile itself and the Remsen for 2-year-olds a little bit later on, but we'll get started with the pair of maiden races. We'll start off with the girls here going 7 furlongs, race 2 from Saturday.
And you want to watch the inside. The winner, Dame Dorothy, has a little bit of trouble to start. I think less trouble than some people seem to think, though she ran very impressively. And, of course, the one horse, who's one of the choices, Full of Sugar, he bumps a little bit, but I don't really feel like she was going out to the front. I almost feel like it was a kind of change of tactics here that blew up in their face. Dame Dorothy was much the best in this race, though.
Oh, much the best. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the trouble at the start, I think you're right, a little bit over-exaggerated. I mean, she doesn't break well on her own, and the one comes over a little bit at the start there. But, you know, she's kind of, I thought, the architect of her own doing here in the beginning stages.
Yeah, the architect of her own demise, as I like to say.
Well, she won, so I can't say demise.
Yeah, that's true, at the start. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I think she's just a first-time starter. It was a little bit green, and she didn't have that speed, because you see Javier asking her after the start, and she had no speed. She's probably a router anyway. She has more of a turf pedigree, though clearly she's obviously can handle the dirt very, very well. Regardless of that, she'll be more professional in her second start for trainer Todd Pletcher. The one horse, Full of Sugar, has shown tremendous speed in her debut. Whether it was the rail, the break, or whatever, she ends up rating behind what is a monstrously slow pace, and there she is. And, of course, there's the eventual winner, Dame Dorothy. She's behind the slow pace, and it works very, very, very much against her in here. And I just feel like next time she runs, they got to go to the front with her and try to get her back to her first race. But she wasn't being Dame Dorothy in a fair race anyway.
No, but I mean, on the other hand, too, I mean, Dame Dorothy, the winner, is on the outside in the Bobby Flay orange and yellow colors, and then the third place finisher, Sea Trials, right outside of Full of Sugar there. And Full of Sugar, you know, I thought, despite not getting an aggressive ride here, managed to work out a pretty decent trip for the most part, no?
I don't care about that. Here's Dame Dorothy on the outside. It doesn't really matter. You can figure out where Dame Dorothy is. We can keep rolling it from here. I don't care about that. My point with her is, and I may be wrong, my point is she ran so well in her debut by showing speed that she's not a horse that's comfortable rating, especially rating on the rail, taking dirt inside of horses. I didn't say she had a bad trip. I just think she had a trip that's not conducive to her running style. Maybe she ran well in her first start, went backwards, and she'll never run well again. We'll see. Mark Hennig's horse has been running well. Regardless of that, Dame Dorothy doesn't break that sharply, has no speed. It's a paceless race. The second horse was a firster that took advantage of the slow pace. She circles the field with a mid-move and still wins. That's pretty good. I don't care that it was a 71 buyer. This is a horse that easily ran 10 or more points better and will improve with racing.
Yeah, you got to think that this horse, just judging by the pedigree, will improve, and just the way she ran first time out too. I mean, you know, she improves a little bit second time out. She's a little bit more sharp coming out of the gate. She gets into some better position going around the turn. She doesn't have to make that wide move into a slow pace. This is a horse with a good future.
Yeah, and it's not. Listen, we're not covering any territory. People have been talking about this horse, but you know what? She'll show up in a tougher spot with a 71 buyer in Florida next time, and maybe some people will think, well, she's not that fast, and she may meet a horse that ran an 86 buyer, let's say, and we can easily say, I'm not sure she's not as good, if not better than that horse, and with any kind of move forward can beat them. So maybe she won't be that short a price next time. We'll see.
All right, we'll take a look at the boys now division of this maiden special weight race a couple races later. Race number 5, I head on to the start here, looking at Monopolize, who's the 1A, All My Memories, the 7, and the winner, the 10, Surfing USA.
Yeah, we'll start out with the start and just Surfing USA and Monopolize. Surfing USA, the eventual winner, will stumble. I thought, you know, not that badly, but enough to throw him off course. The 1A Monopolize more, I thought Eric just broke a little bit slowly. And to me, Monopolize is probably a talented horse, a horse that had been outworking Dame Dorothy, but a colt, of course, that probably has a future. But All My Memories is the horse that had the trip in this race.
Yeah, All My Memories had a ton of trouble in here, and, you know, going to get worse as we get deeper into the race, as we get to the top of the stretch. Going to be, you know, kind of hard-held, I thought, you know, might be the best way to describe it in the early stages here.
All My Memories has the red hat. You'll be able to see the winner outside of him, Surfing USA. There, of course, are those familiar Rapoli silks with Monopolize, a horse that will move forward in Florida. And I agree with All My Memories. Cornelio asked this horse for position out of the gate, which I like. On the other hand, he then spent most of the rest of the race just completely throttling the horse down. What's the point, Eric?
Yeah, I don't know what the point is.
There's
I mean, you're in a good spot here, and you know, if I was a jockey of this horse, I'd be doing everything I could to try to maintain that position. As their telestrators went a little crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand this. You know, it's just. We talk about it ad infinitum, but the thing about it is it gets worse and worse and worse. I'm not saying you want to put the horse into a drive and he runs off. Here's Surfing USA, now in a very good spot. He'll win. There's All My Memories, and the trouble's going to get worse and worse and worse. Here's Monopolize. Now, Monopolize will make a big run on the outside before flattening out in the late stages and finishing fourth. All My Memories also, and we'll talk about this, I almost feels like he may have given up a little bit, and then he had a horse at the end.
Yeah, I mean, right here, he's just, actually in a fairly decent spot once again and behind horses, but, the other horses are going to start making a move on the outside. He's going to end up in a tricky spot with some traffic down toward the inside. He's going to have to steady, so some bad luck there from All My Memories. Probably could have worked out a little better if the rider was a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, there he is back there. Of course, Monopolize for the Orange has moved on the outside. Surfing USA, no need to see him anymore. He will win the race. He is in front in the two-path. And there you see the real trouble between horses. He gets completely shut off. And at this point, now he's back to 7th, I guess. And clearly he's riding a little bit. He doesn't know if he's going anywhere. Maybe the horse is lugging in a little bit on him, but he's had a few starts, this horse. At this point, he's giving us a ride. He'll start to take off on him, and he just misses 4th. He wasn't better than Surfing USA, but I think he probably ran the 2nd best race of anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he encountered significant trouble throughout most of the racing here, and, you can argue that he's had a couple races. How much more is he going to improve? He should be over these kind of things, but whereas, you have the first-time starter Monopolize in the mix, and maybe even, Chad Brown's horse, Private Label, who made a little bit of middle move, too. How much do you want the horses that didn't have the experience going forward?
No, that's a very good point. And that's what you always have to sort of balance that. Is a horse, as you say, I think this was around the 3rd start or something for All My Memories. And as you say, you'd like to see him get over these issues. Some horses take longer than others, but you're right. Horses like Monopolize will be better in their 2nd start, though. It's a Todd Pledger firster, and sometimes, you don't know. They don't always show as much improvement. Chad Brown, Private Label, that horse is more likely to show more improvement. I still think All My Memories, he just... it's just uncomfortable, and it's easy to sit here and say what riders should be doing, and we're not trying to be that harsh, but this horse did not have a clean trip, however you want to look at it.
How good is Surfing USA? Where do you put him going forward?
I think he's pretty good. He got an 83 buyer. He stumbled at the start. He seemed to be a little green. He waited on some horses. So I have no problem saying that his buyer figure could have been 85 to 90. Keep in mind, the Remsen, I know, was adjusted with a wacky base, but those horses are horses that run around 90s. It's not like there's horses out there running 105s and 110s. So where is he right now? If he's a horse that continues to move forward, he could put himself squarely in the 3-year-old division. But as you know, the if of moving forward is a huge if.
It is indeed. We'll see. But whatever the case may be, he's going to be an intriguing factor wherever he ends up in his next start. A couple of stakes to bring you. The feature of the fall meet here, the Grade 1 Cigar Mile Handicap. Of course, a great field assembled for this one, including Breeders' Cup winners Groupie Doll and Golden Sense. We'll take a look at it from the start here. A big stumble from Saratoga Snacks.
Yeah, Saratoga Snacks. It's unfortunate whether he was good enough or not. They never got to find out because he stumbled and then got squashed by Golden Sense. We're going to look at Clearly Now in the purple and white and outside Groupie Doll. Now, we don't know when and if Groupie Doll will ever run again. She may not. There's some trouble here. Clearly Now, I think, is a horse that is coming into his own late in the 3-year-old year and has a chance to be a force in the 7 furlong to a mile races next year. This is the kind of horse that could be a Met Mile type horse. He's that good. And to me, Eric, he was victimized by his inside post, and he sort of rushes up with Jose. He drops him back. He asks him again. He rushes up. He'll end up stumbling behind the winner, and he just never got to get that clean outside trip, the trip the winner got.
Right, and he doesn't really get to any spot to relax and get comfortable in either, because the rider's been, continues to be aggressive here. Whether you think it's the right thing or the wrong thing, he's going to come up along the inside of a private zone there and kind of force the issue a little bit down from the inside, which is never a great spot to be in.
You wonder if he had been sitting in that garden spot where Verrazano, who showed he just doesn't get it done in these spots, if he was sitting where he was, he really might have been able to win this race or been second in here. It's hard to know while he's eating that dirt inside and getting in trouble. And of course, Groupie Doll is in the unfortunate spot. I think Raj did a good job getting her in position. He's riding her a little bit to keep up, but of course what will happen is Clearly Now is going to stumble very shortly off of the heels of Private Zone, and that's going to have a ripple effect into Groupie Doll.
Yes, Clearly Now will stumble pretty badly, and Groupie Doll will have to take up to avoid Clearly Now and actually bump into the outside horse a little bit. Laugh Track might have bumped into that one a couple times. Here's the trouble there, and you see the chain reaction of events that happened at the quarter pole.
I will say, I thought that Rajiv was terrific on Groupie Doll, and she's so professional. Considering how bad it could have been and the fact that the horse stumbled, clipped heels badly in front of her in her face, I think she lost the momentum here. I think that may have hurt her a little bit. It took her longer to get going. Probably she finishes 3rd if that doesn't happen. I don't think any of us are saying she would have won. And let's give Private Zone some credit. Flat out, got a terrific ride by Junior Alvarado. I think Clearly Now is continuing to try. He just was in a position where he was always chasing down on the inside. But more than that, I'm excited about Clearly Now. I don't know where we see him, but I'd love to see him take a prep. Maybe they want to prep him in a race like the Tom Fool, and think about the Grade 1 Carter and the Grade 1 Met Mile. He may be that good.
Well, I think he's definitely that kind of horse, and you know, if you're their connections right now of Clearly Now, you got to think that way, and you got to point this horse in that direction. Try to get the Grade 1 cigar, get him to the Met Mile as well, and figure out a plan what will be the best way to get him to those 2 races.
And he had a long year. He's run a lot of races, so whether or not they're thinking about the Malibu in California in just a few weeks, I mean, they could think about that, but if they don't, they'll give him a little time off and point to those big races, because there are no Grade 1 sprints in Florida, and this is a Grade 1 quality horse.
Indeed he is, and we'll take a look at some more Grade 1 quality horses going forward. I think in the Remsen here, it's a Grade 2 this day, but I think you're going to have some nice horses coming out of this race and doing some good things. Of course, we're taking a look at the 9 Cairo Prince at the start here. The unaggressive ride from Luis Saez really cost him at the start here, and I think that was the key to the race in terms of the stretch battle between him and Honor Code.
I could not agree more, and we'll talk about it as we go around. Honor Code, he didn't have that bad a break. People were acting like he broke really badly. He got a quite stutter at the start. But as you see, another situation where Luis Saez, who's riding Cairo Prince, he made his decision before the race began on how he was going to ride him. Instead of coming out looking for position, and if others go, let them go in front of them, he grabbed a hold. They went a monstrously slow 25.84 first quarter en route to a 6 furlongs in 1:17.56. Now, all these horses are bunched up back here. What the heck is going on that Honor Code is actually in front of him after a stutter step start and gets earlier position? This is a horse, Cairo Prince, who broke a mile race open with a huge 3/8 blitz. He is so much faster early in Honor Code, and yet his rider took away his natural advantage.
And if he was aggressive out of the gate here, I mean, he could have been in front by 3 lengths going a half in 49 here.
Oh, 50. Who knows? Yeah, no, they went 52 and 3. I understand the races run differently if he does that, but maybe Honor Code is now 10 lengths behind. I'm not saying he still wouldn't have put in his kick. He might still have won. But to me, he took away any advantage that he had tactically.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for him to have to now go and get Honor Code as opposed to the other way it looked like it would play out on paper, whereas Honor Code would have to come and get him. I mean, you switch the you switch the momentum greatly there after the start, where you have that position that you're going to have to make up now, and you're going to have to do it a little bit wide too.
And then, as we'll watch in the head-on and pay attention, the rider gives him a couple of taps and upper stretch, and not until right at the end when he realizes Honor Code's coming back does he desperately give him a few more hits with the whip. He was overconfident, too overconfident, and that may have cost him. And then there's Wicked Strong, who's behind horses. I wouldn't say he got blind switched here, but it was almost a blind switch. And you see him inside of horses. He'll eventually have to angle out around them. And he was running at the end, too. I'll tell you something, all 3 of these horses are good horses. And after watching the Breeders' Cup, and I like that Bob Baffert horse, is it Tappet Rich? I think he's going to be pretty good. But going long, all 3 of these horses have a right to have a big say in our races coming up towards the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the effort here from Wicked Strong. I mean, I know not quite up to the top 2 just yet, but I mean, a horse that just broke his maiden last time out, that's figuring things out, that's coming along at the finish here, despite the slow pace early on. I think he's a horse with the future. Cairo Prince, obviously things could have been a lot differently had he been ridden differently. I'm not sure, though, going forward distance-wise, he's going to be as good as Honor Code or Wicked Strong.
He doesn't feel like it, though you never really know. These distances are funny. I agree, but the other thing about him is he has more tactical speed than those, and they have to learn that his tactical speed can be a weapon in his favor. That's my biggest problem with these paceless races. Number one, my biggest problem is you don't find anything out going forward. You didn't learn anything from this race. They're good horses. We knew it going in. I guess you learned that Wicked Strong might be better than we thought going in, because he just had the maiden when we thought he might be good. He belongs to those horses. We didn't learn anything about him. We don't know, can Cairo Prince use that speed as a weapon to give an advantage over Honor Code, or maybe if he used it, Honor Code would run him down more easily. I don't know. You'd like to see it, because these are prep races you want to learn. We know they're good horses. I'll tell you something. This is not obviously Shug and Kieran. They've been there. They have good horses. I'd love to see Jimmy Jerkins have a good horse in the Triple Crown Trail, and he may have that with Wicked Strong. That would be really cool.
It would be cool. It's been a couple of light years for Jimmy since he won the Travers a few years back, but good to see him. Seems like he's got some better stock heading into 2014, at least with his young horses as well. So always a good race to Remsen, and I think this year is going to prove to be some nice horses coming out of this.
And a good race that started quite a debate. If you haven't read Mike Watchmaker's column in the DRF, I thought it was a terrific blog about what happened in this, and it's an interesting discussion as we learn more about racing, and we'd like to learn from you so we can use your help, trips, and traps at NYRAInc.com.
Thanks for watching.